A function, you can treat it as function is an entity which takes an input and gives an output. The way we define function is it will have a return type, function name, there is a syntax, round brackets, curly brackets, this is called function body. Now this is a very easy concept to understand if we correlate it to real world. Let's say if I want to ask, if I want to buy toothpaste from a grocery shop, what do I have to give to that person? Yeah, we want a toothpaste. So function name is buy toothpaste. That's the function. What input does it need from our side? Anyone?
We have to tell the brand name, like which toothpaste I want.
Yeah, so you have to tell the brand name. What will be the data type of brand name?
String.
String, perfect. String, brand. So without telling the brand, how can the shopkeeper give us a toothpaste? Fine, we give the brand name. Anything else?
And then amount. Money.
Money, right? Because that's also input. Brand name, comma. What will be the data type for money?
Integer.
Ideally we can go with integer, but typically for monetary transaction people say double because sometimes cents are also involved, and so we say double cost. So these two things are good enough, right? If a person has it, he will give it to us. And now whatever he will give in return to us, that will be written here. What do we get in return? Toothpaste, right? So toothpaste cannot be a primitive data type. We can't say toothpaste is an integer or a boolean, right? So we say toothpaste. So we say toothpaste is a new type that we need to create, and this is a class. But this line of function that you have seen, this is clearly telling what this function will do. This function will take two things from us, brand and cost, and it will return a toothpaste to us. Same way we had taken an example in string. Length function of a string. It does not take anything from us because we are calling this function on the object of string. We are saying s.length. That means s is on this string, give us the length. So we don't have to pass this string. So we say s.length, it says, oh, this string's length you are asking, I'll count 4 and I'll return you. So it does not take any parameter. So we will be creating our own functions, and most of the times you will see in Java, this is the concept that we need to master. We should be in a position to write a function, write the logic in the function which takes some input, converts that to output, and we are done. Next set of exercises that you will be doing on MentorPick are mainly related to the functions, and we shift the focus to functions and we master the concept of writing function. I'll show you one exercise. Here you see is even number. Okay, before I show you that, we are saying we have to write a function that tells a given number is integer, is even or not. So can you tell me how do we write that function here? We created one example. What should be the name of the function? Here this was the name. Now we are writing a function which will tell a number is even or not. What should be the name of the function?
Is even.
Is even, or is number even. This flexibility is there with us. We can write any function if we are writing our own function. Is number even or is even. So this is the function name and round bracket starts. What input parameter will it take?
Any integer?
An integer, int n or int a or int b. Variable name is again in our control. We can give any variable name. So int num, let's say that's the variable. What will be the return type of this function?
Boolean.
Boolean, right? It will either say true or say false. Ideally people may say string also I can return because true or false, but there is more appropriate data type, Boolean. So we'll use Boolean. Now this function has to be written. And now how do we tell a number is even or not? In real world, how do we tell? If I ask you 12, is that an even number? What will you say?
Yes.
True. Is 13 an even number?
No.
No. So here we will say false. Now we have to write this code in such a way that if the number was 12, if this number's value is 12, now remember this function can be called with any value, then your function has to return true or false based on this number's value. How do we do that? What code do we write in this function? That is what requires conditional statements. Because if number is, how do we decide? Okay, first we talk about how do we decide number is even or not.
The remainder when you divide by 2 and the remainder is 0.
Yeah, so when we divide a number by 2, if it gets fully divided, then we say number is even. So in Java, there is a operator which gives us the remainder's value. So if we say num modulo, this is %2, the value of this will be remainder of division. So if we do, here we will say if num modulo 2 is 0. If this is 0, what should we do?
Even number.
Even number. We have to return a boolean.
Return true.
So here in this function, when function has a return type, in the function we write return space the value. If this is 0, we say return true, else we say return false. So if else is a conditional statement which has a syntax if round bracket, some condition will come here. Here condition happen to be this, that we are doing the remainder operator, we are getting the value based on that true or false. If this expression evaluates to true, then we return true, otherwise we return false. Now imagine, let's walk through our mind. If number contained 13, it will come here to first line. It will do 13 modulo 2. What is the value of 13 modulo 2? What is the remainder that we get when we divide 13 by 2? 1. So this value will become 1. Double equal is comparison. We are comparing. Is 1 equal to 0? What will be the result of this comparison?
False.
False. If it is false, if this condition becomes false, we never execute the if part. We always go to the else part. If this condition is true, if part is executed. If this condition is false, else part is executed. And we can also put if and else in the curly brackets. That's always the best practice, that if and else. And this will be frequently using in our test code also, because if the value on the page matches our expected value, we say test passed, otherwise we say test failed. So we can also write our test cases which return boolean, test name, whatever input test requires, and then we can say return true or false. So if I say boolean is login successful, can you tell me what inputs it will take?
Right?
String,
Yeah.
username,
Beginning.
string, password. That's it. This will be our test case. Now we have to figure out how to execute. This is how we will be writing our test cases. That's why I said function is a concept that we need to learn. After you execute the function, you will need if else to decide the test has passed or failed. So here you will say go to site, enter username, enter password, click login button, and after clicking the login button you will say string message get message from page. Once the message comes to you, you will say if message, for now I will write double equal, although I told you that if this is a variable, this is an object, we always use functions, we don't use the operators. So typically we'll say if this dot equals success, we say return true, else return false. If success message is there, we say oh test passed, otherwise test failed. So function is something that we will, what we'll do is we'll do some exercises on function tomorrow. In case you have enthu and time before tomorrow's class, go on remaining 3-4 exercises. They are based on conditional statement and functions. Though we could not thoroughly talk about the concepts, but conditionals, these 4 problems are there. Try to do it. I'll discuss my solutions with you, and I'll also talk about your solutions. So tomorrow we'll proceed from conditional statements, and then we'll get our hands dirty with Eclipse and Selenium. Fair? Okay. Okay. So before we wind up, do you have any questions?
Yes, Sandeep, I have one question. It's not regarding the class, but I tried to download Eclipse in my Surface Pro
Mm-hmm.
somehow, and I I tried to download that you know I forgot that term uh JDK. It
Mm-hmm.
didn't let me download it. It was showing some error. So does Surface Pro has a different version? That's why it was not letting me do.
Okay. Yeah, it will have a different version. Mostly it will be ARM OS. Let's say Surface Pro JDK download. Let's see. Yeah, you will find a lot of help here.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah. So typically there
okay,
the processors are different. It's not x64 or x86. So do online search, you will find answer to that.
okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, sure, no issues. Yeah, any more questions, folks? Okay, guys, then we'll meet tomorrow, same time. I mean, rather than same time, we'll meet at 9:30, and we'll get going from here, whatever we have learned today. But in the meanwhile, yeah, do spend some time in solving these problems yourself. That will make you more comfortable with the syntax and coding.